Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, it's show time. How are you doing? Yep. You made him stay up way too late, man. Way too late. What's up, Brandon? How you doing, buddy? Oh man, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Lockin, how you doing, buddy? Hope all is well with you too. Here we go here. But again, I hope all is going well with everybody. So this past week or so was Fanatics Fest. What's happening, buddy? How you doing, Hunter? All is well. Sean, how you doing, pal? So this weekend was, Fanatics Fest, and I've watched some videos on it, and it seems like a a lot of people had a good time. You know, it was, Fanatics Fest. It was a card show plus, they showed a bunch of they had the autograph signings and, all that kind of stuff. They had the Big John. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for swinging by. They had the autograph sign. They had the card show. They had basically, Fanatics Fest. It was, a big card show and convention, if you want to call it, and they're going to have more of them uh you know throughout the year. I thought Fanatics Fest was going to be a one time a year thing, but it doesn't appear that way, you know and it got me thinking a little more about, is Fanatics Fest, is what Fanatics is doing in the hobby, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? And I think it's both. For us that want to buy and sell cards, it's both. It's great that they want to get more eyeballs on the hobby. So for those of us that sell cards, excuse me, you know, there are more eyeballs, more potential sales, right? So I mean, so from that standpoint, that's really, really good. Um, the other side of the story though is that, it could be bad. And you say, well, why could it be bad? Well, with more eyeballs, usually that has a tendency to mean that there's more demand. If there's more demand, that usually means it's going to cost more to, get into this hobby. And again, it's a very, it's a double-edged sword. It's a slippery slope to go. Um, Yeah, from all the videos I've seen, I didn't hear anybody talk about anything bad. The one thing I did hear, and I don't know how true it is, but what I heard was that out of all the autograph signings that they did, the WWE superstars were the only ones to completely sell out. Every single ticket for every single WWE superstar was bought. So that's a great thing. Wrestling is cool. For those of us, myself, Big John, Anthony, the CEO, and other people, that love wrestling, seeing wrestling do good is awesome. But again, it sucks because now myself, yeah, they were sold out. Hunter, Big John, right? you know, what sucks for us now is that it's hard to get deals. It's harder to get into to breaks. you know, prices of the superstars now are going to be ridiculous. I was watching Body Slam. Yeah, 199, and that was cheapest. I was watching Body Slam. I can't remember the rest of his name, but I think it's Body Slam Toys. And he bought into Prison Breaks, and he spent 16 no $1,800, I think, or 16 or $1,800 on Prison Breaks. And guess what? He didn't get any of the big superstars. It is toys, Body Slam Toys. He did not get any of the big superstars. He got like No More Dar. He got he had the two guys from Pretty Deadly, right? So he didn't get the big. Now he bought in a lot. I think he said, you know, he bought into at least probably 18 cases worth of breaks. He got a nice little stack of cards, but the funny thing is he still wound up being short. From that standpoint, you know, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, what's going to happen with people buying cards, buying belts? Yep, a lot of people were buying belts and everything. I think that's pretty cool. Panini's checklist, it is not the greatest, but like I said, the problem you have is, when you have Stone Cold and you have Hulk Hogan and you have Cena and Reigns and Undertaker, and then Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, I mean, a lot of those are going to go, well, probably they go for the big, big dollars, The Rock, and then you get the other ones that don't go for a lot. But you you get, the proverbial, you get what you pay for and stuff, from that standpoint. But what happens is, depending on how breaks work, was it an actual, hey, player A's name goes up and people bid? Was it one of these ones where you bid and pick a card? I mean, I don't know how those were working and everything. What's up with the Cactus Jack card blasters? Well, it's not Cactus Jack as if you think Cactus Jack, aka Mick Foley, aka Dude Love, aka Mankind. Not that Cactus Jack. This was a different, Cactus Jack. Thanks, Brandon. Yes, it's very, very hard to do the player one. Hey, Justin, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah. So he was doing something and everything, from that standpoint. I think it was pretty cool. They had the entrance stuff, you know. But again, what do we, what does it do? When Fanatic says they want to, 10x the hobby. I mean, again, for those of us that like to sell cards, that's a good thing because there's more eyeballs. But again, it's a bad thing, because it makes it harder to buy cards because cards are expensive. And, you know, and the way they're doing it now, I can only imagine it's not going to get any better. But the truth is, for the most part, if you're not buying hobby boxes or jumbo boxes or choice boxes or these whatever special boxes, hits are extremely hard to come by. So the point of entry into a product may be low from a, hey, I want to be able to open up product. But if you're trying to make money on that, it makes it hard because you don't really have, the hits coming. I mean, you guys see, those of you that, check out some of my videos, stuff that I go on the channel and everything, I mean, you think about it, I'm $30, 35, $40 on a box, maybe $50 on a box. I don't get that back. Think about those guys that, buy these $600 for one pack of, 8 cards. Unless you hit, the low numbered, stuff, you're not making any coin coming back out of that box. So even hobby boxes, it's still a massive, gamble. That's why I always wonder, like when you go to card shows and you're looking at a guy's case and he's sitting there, and everything in the case, is, I don't know, $100 up, and there's a lot of cards in that case. You know, I mean, I start to wonder, okay, how much is buying a collection? How much is, buying just singles here or there? I got to believe that a lot of it is not getting in breaks, because I can't believe that these guys, would do that type of thing. So, good evening, Chuck. Nasty. So it's tough. You have to you nickel and dime. That's what I do. I had a good weekend for me in sales, and I sold, I don't know, maybe about, 20 cards. Now again, I can't list as much as when you hear about these other guys doing 500 cards, 100 cards, so on and so forth. I uh yes sir, Mr. Chuck. Chuck name change coming 3, 2, 1. Brandon. From that standpoint. Um, you know, but on a regular day, 3 cards, 4 cards and stuff, so it's nickel and dime, and it's nickel and dime and trying to go ahead, and make some money. You can't, you can't do it a lot. I mean, I don't understand, these guys that go ahead and go to these shows and stuff. Again, I wonder where they're getting their cards and, trying to, you know, uh, trying to make a living out of this. It's very, very difficult. And I don't think Fanatics is going to make it easier on us. I think it's only going to get harder, for the little guys. You know, the big influencers, the guys you see have the big YouTube channels that open. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people who don't have YouTube channels, that have, that buy and sell cards all the time and that type of stuff. Um, but from that standpoint, the small to micro, guys in the hobby, it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be very difficult for us to go ahead, and do it. I mean, I'm glad, me personally, I don't think I could, I don't think I could do this as a full time, job and stuff like that. I give those credit who are able to, do it. Like I look at like Bo, 1 million Cubs, and I'm not sure where else he's making his money and stuff like that, from a standpoint of how much he's getting, from, let's say, YouTube. I know he does card shows and other stuff, but the bulk of it is coming from selling, $2 cards, $3 cards. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I look, Justin, I agree. Fanatics is trying. I wonder what they're gonna go ahead and, what they have, up their sleeve per se. From that standpoint. I think um I think, in my opinion, they have a unique opportunity to do some really good stuff, that when they have everything. Um, I do find it somewhat, uh, interesting, as if they will. because they once they have that control, they can do whatever they want to do, right? They can print as much as they want to print. They can decide not to print. They could, I mean, now again, what does 10x the hobby mean? Does 10x mean, you know, is it growing the base of the hobby? Is it growing the hobby itself? Is it growing the collectors? Um, or is it growing the revenue of the hobby 10x? So those are, two very different things. I mean, one will help the other, right? You can grow the hobby itself and grow the people in the hobby and bring more people in. That'll automatically make money go ahead and go up, right? I mean, that's just typically the way it works. You have more people coming in, more people buy, boom, revenue and sales and everything goes up. That's how you can 10x the hobby. You again, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Interesting to see how this Fanatics Fest continues to grow. I know Anthony had told me they're going to Pittsburgh, I think, in next month, maybe September or October. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure. Ruben, a smart guy. This guy said 2022ish. People need to step away from that statement. Yeah, I don't disagree, but I'm just saying, you know, that's what he wants to do. And when you look at some of the stuff that they are doing, that it seems to be okay. You know, um, but again, who knows, right? They got Fanatics Fest. That's going to bring a lot. That brings a lot of people in. Um, if the big difference that's going to be versus, let's say, the national, if this is going to be a rather large scale show, and then going ahead and traveling it and having it multiple times throughout the year, bringing it, East Coast, Mid Coast, let's say Upper Midwest, go out to the West Coast, Lower Midwest, Southeast. If he does 5 a year, let's say, I mean that's going to be really good. That's gonna be really, really good, from that standpoint. That will be really, really good. I think I think you'll see good things happen. I really do. Now, one of the things that I'm surprised about when it comes to Fanatics and the hobby itself, there was this stigma towards non-licensed product, right? People hated Panini Baseball, because it didn't have the logos. I'm not gonna buy Prism. I'm not gonna buy Select. I'm not gonna buy Chronicles. I'm not gonna go ahead and do that. Yep, you're not alone. You're not alone, buddy. You're definitely not alone. Um, you again, you had non-licensed product with Panini, and everybody was like, "Ugh, oh my god, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it." But I think it was more because it was baseball than it was not. And the reason why I say that is look at all of a sudden the Topps Chrome basketball and the whatever that football product, I forgot the name of the football product, sorry, that Topps put out, all non-licensed. It's going to be all non-licensed stuff, and you hear it being talked about and people being excited about going ahead and getting. I mean, Blez Sports was talking about how they're going to be doing massive, breaks with it and stuff. So it just goes to show you, I think people will buy I think it was more that people, it was more of a baseball thing than it was an actual non-licensing. I think it was a baseball thing. I think it's people going, hey, you know what? I won't buy that from Panini. It's not licensed. But like I said, it's funny, those basketball and football guys, they won't have a problem, uh, you know, buying the non-licensed stuff from Fanatics. It does. It does need to have, good things happen, and I don't think things are bad. What's up, Sticks G? How you doing, buddy? I don't think things are bad, you know. I just think, from a standpoint of is, you know, trying to find, good stuff, finding cards you like and everything, it does make it a little more difficult. Um, there again, there are people who will say, "Hey, I don't care. It does not matter to me. I will buy X, Y, and Z. It doesn't make a difference who prints it, so on and so forth." And that's great, and that's a good way to be. There are other people who say, "Oop, I'm only going to do X. I'm only going to do Y." I don't know what happens when there's no more Panini football. There's no more Panini basketball. um, when there's no more Panini, WWE. I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. What happens to a Panini. When everything goes. And the funny thing is when everything goes over to Fanatics, they don't have like a 3-year deal. The deals that they got with the unions and stuff are long deals. I think some of them are as many as like 10 years or so. That's it's a long time. That is definitely, a long time to have the contracts for. Now, can they break the contracts? Why? You'd have to be out of your cotton picking mind to do that. That makes zero sense to try and go ahead and do. I mean, it makes no sense to try and break those contracts. You might as well stick around and go through it. Again, to me, that's where what happens with the hobby. What stunk, what the biggest thing that really, that hurt, in my opinion, some of the baseball product was getting rid of some. Now, here's the thing: in football and in basketball, Panini really only had, when you think about it, they had their two staple brands. They had Select and they had Prism. Yes, they had Revolution, and yes, they had uh yes, they had some other stuff also. But for the most part, those were the two. Hello, Jason. How are you, buddy? Uh for the most part, those are the two main ones that they have. No, they had, yes, and they had Chronicles of Contenders, but when you think about it, those those really didn't hold a lot of value. Those were kind of, in my opinion, the entry point products, for those guys. That's how simple it was. It was that's the entry product for them. So when it goes to when basketball and football goes to tops, you're not really going to be missing that much, right? You had Donruss Optic, let's say, for basketball. So it's basically you had a paper product and you had a chrome product. Well, guess what? That's Topps paper, that's Topps flagship, and that's Topps chrome. You know, obviously, from that standpoint. I think, what is uh is there going to be, will we have a more paper products for football and basketball coming out? That'll be interesting. Because really you only had Donruss and you had Score, but they weren't the ones that you went for, right? Everybody was trying to get the Select or the Prism. That's where the collecting piece comes down. Interest rates going down will help. These investors see interest rates coming down. Let's see if it impacts the prices in the market. It does. Interest rates do go ahead and make that go down. I mean, if you can drive down the credit card rates, because there are a lot of bunch of guys who will buy stuff on credit cards. And if you can't pay it off, you wind up paying out of your rear end. Um, excuse me. I think. Hey, Kenneth, how are you, buddy? I think I, the economy, the interest rates and stuff will go ahead and will have an effect. Again, to me, I don't know if that will. Does that affect the big guys or does that affect the little guys more? Because, like, if you think about it, Some of these guys, they make deals, they make cash deals. Most of these dealers like cash deals. So higher interest rates, I'm sure that's probably hurting, LCSs some, because a lot of people don't go into an LCS, with a bunch of cash, excuse me, to buy a bunch of boxes of cards, right? You know, I go into my LCS to look for some stuff. I'm paying by credit card. I'm not paying by cash. Uh, at a card show, dealers don't like credit cards. They like the cold hard cash when they make a deal for a card, which makes a ton of sense. Um, I think investors, the key with them is going to be, hey, a lot of investors, they don't want to have to sit on cards. And I think that's where you're seeing, some of that stuff affect investors, right? An investor, most of your investors are typically not long-term people, right? They like to get a card, have that guy go ahead, and do really, really well, and then dump that card, and let somebody else go ahead and deal with it if there's a problem, right? I think, and then you're banking on it. Like, every time I think of an investor, the one guy I think about is that guy who bought that infinite black one of one Mac Jones, for 100,000 cash for that kid who went ahead and pulled that card. And I mean, I can only imagine, what that guy, what I mean, I don't know if he dumped it, but if he doesn't dump it, whoever owns that card right now, unless somebody just tried to get out and recoup anything, and it doesn't make a difference then, because you got to think about it, right? If a guy, yeah, yeah, definitely a sad story for him. Because you're thinking about, the thing is who's going to take a chance with it, right? I mean, if you buy that card for that price, and I think it was 100 or 115,000, you buy that card for that price, and then you see what happens to Mac Jones. You can't sell it. You have to keep it. 'Cause what do you think? You think someone's gonna, let's say, offer you 50 grand for it? And now, what do you think from a standpoint of is him going and being a backup? And where does he go? He goes to a team that has a quarterback drafted the same year as him. So he has to be hoping that, oh, they're not going to pay him. Maybe I'll get a shot. Oh, no, sorry, wrong. They went ahead and paid Trevor Lawrence. You had to think, if you're Mac Jones, to go there to be the backup for what? You're not going to play. You're not going to get a chance to go ahead and show, hey, I'm better than I was. You would have been better off going, there's a number of places that you could have gone that would have been a better choice, you know, rather than going there. Because you think about it, the number one pick, you knew they were going to extend them. So if you know they're going to extend them, then what are you doing? Now, again, as an investor or someone who's buying Mac Jones as he's doing well those first couple of years, and all of a sudden, it's crazy. I've been doing grade to consignment because eBay is so hit and miss on the low end. So where are you consigning? Yep, I agree. Hilarious. Always want to spend tons of money for one. Yeah, there's another guy. There is another guy. Yeah, I think, investing in cards, thinking, and it's funny. PC sports cards. Oh, I haven't heard of them. I hear, but we're in a better position interest rate wise. Unless one thinks we're going into recession, I just don't believe we are. No, I'm not going ahead, and I'm not I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, from an interest rate perspective, though, I don't know how many, excuse me, I don't know how many of these, bigger card deals. Yes, I'm sure on Golden and stuff like that. But when you go to a show, right? I'm talking about show stuff, right? I'm talking about shows. I'm not talking about like Golden auctions or Sotheby or Heritage. Completely different story. Um, but when you go to a show, you don't really see a lot of guys whipping out the credit card for a $5,000 card. A lot of the dealers are looking for cash. They don't want to deal with the other thing. Yeah, and that's pretty much the people that are here. I don't have a card. I don't think that I do not have a card that I have taken and gone, "Oh, you know what? This one, this this Bianca Belair bronze card, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to grade it, or I'm going to put it in a one touch and put it in the safe, because in 15 years this is going to um it's going to be worth a lot." I make a little profit. More importantly, I haven't taken a loss even on bad grades. Oh, that's awesome. You know, like when the boom when the boom went, I couldn't tell you how many people, when I first started to get more into cards right after that, you know, 2020, 21, um, how many people looked at cards and were like, yes, and they would have their stack of PSA graded cards or two stacks of PSA graded cards. And in their mind, that was their 401k. That was their retirement. Because their thought process, the Luca rookie was never going to go down. The Zion rookie was never going to go down. Nothing was going to happen with a lot of these guys, and card prices were going to continue to go ahead and skyrocket. There were a lot of people who thought graded cards, buying two, three, $4,000 cards and holding them, or even more, because in 5, 10 years I could have the next Mickey Mantle card. I could have the next Michael Jordan card. I could have the next, Mike Trout card, whatever it may be, that's going to go sky high and go crazy. Oh, that makes sense then. Then, yes, interest rates going down is never, I mean, I can't remember a time when interest rates going down was a bad thing. Interest rates going down always seemed to be a good thing. But again, those of us that are trying to, you know, there are people that are trying to supplement an income. Uh, there are people that are trying to, you know, retire. Let's face it, there are people out there who think I'm going to get these cards and it's going to be my retirement, or it's going to be my kids' college fund and stuff like that. And I don't see it. That's why, like, people, there are some people, I'll listen to them, they're going, "Oh yeah, I remember, when I went ahead and got in, back in the day before the whole internet, I got my Beckett book, and I went ahead and I had my Beckett book, and I looked at the value of my cards." And I say, you know what? I never, I'm no joking, but I'll tell you right now, I'll bet you the first 10 years of me being in the hobby, from the middle 70s to the middle 80s, I mean, did I look at a Beckett book? Sure. Did I go to a couple of card shows? Sure. Did I go ahead and think, "Oh my gosh, this card that I have, man, could be worth a lot of money"? Nope, never thought about it. Didn't look at cards, that way. High Bedard high gloss card. It sells now for about 3K ungraded. Yes, you get, that's a good guy and everything. Good one to go ahead and hold on to. My buddy, your buddy, everybody's buddy, Dami. Big John, happy birthday, man. Rem Brandon, Jansen, SummerSlam Sticks, Chuck USA Debris, Jedi Sean, and CCB. I'd rather hold on to it and be only out a couple thousand than five figures later on. Yeah. Yeah. The only, yeah, I agree with you, CCB. Um, but At some point in time, the value, I mean, the kid, I mean, you might as well hold it. If the kid turns out the way people are talking, it'll be a valuable card. It is a hockey card. Maybe in Canada it'll be worth more. For him to go ahead and if he can get up there and be McDavid like or Gretzky like, okay. What if he's Mario Lemieux type? With all the talent in the world, everybody thinks he's the greatest player on the planet Earth at one point in time, and then all of a sudden he gets hurt and stuff. That's the problem with young players. It's a problem. I think Sticks G went ahead and said something. And it's a problem with some of these young guys. They are unproven. But to your point, you're a hockey guy. So holding on to that card is not that big of a deal for you. You know? Yeah. Well, look, I 100% been watching Cajun Cardboard, and these Georgians are going up. This guy is an indicator, but it's hard to say. Well, yeah, I think from a standpoint of, again, you know, there are people who are going to say, look, the only players that I go ahead and collect as an investment are the goats. It's Gretzky, it's Brady, it's Jordan, it's those, types of things and everything. I pulled it so I didn't pay for it. Yep. Right. You're 100% correct. I agree. I agree. Look, hey, even if you went ahead and sold it for 3 grand, you're still way, way ahead. And to me, I mean, I think he's, I think when you're looking at him, from a hockey perspective, I think he's the exception to the rule. I think that is a guy who you could hold on and long term, based off of the projections, you could see his career, way his career is going to go, and everything like that. But you look at like people that are loading up and paying stupid money for CJ Stroud, or some stupid money for some of these other, young quarterbacks. Look what everybody did with Trey Lance. Look what people, look what they did. What they did with Mac Jones, right? CJ Stroud, great year. Can he do the same thing? I don't know. But unfortunately, what happens to a lot of these quarterbacks, they have a lot of hype, and it doesn't work out. Trevor Lawrence was that way. There are a lot of guys that way. So I think where Sticks G went ahead and said, it's hard to go ahead and invest in unproven players. I think that is 100% correct. Right. Exactly. I agree. If you go ahead and you rip something and you get a card that's worth, thousands and everything, it is way different. Because it's easy for you to go ahead and hold it for 10 years. And in 10 years you get $1,000 for it. Well, you still did better than what you could have, right? From that standpoint. Yeah. You you invest you invest. In my opinion, if you're looking at a long-term investment, there are players that you have to look at their records and see what they have done, stuff like that. I don't know, what it is. Been lucky to see Brian years ago, Regina. True, true. You have that was it. Yeah, I mean, from everything that I've heard when it comes to Connor Bedard, um, yeah, I think injuries are the only thing that could derail that young man. Watching him play a couple of games this past year, you could just see that he was different, from that standpoint. So I think that's a good thing. I'm sorry. I forgot about Carson Wentz. There was another guy, you know, but but kind of like Justin said to me, I am a collector more than I'm not an investor. I'm a flipper. I will, I will take this Randy Valet to 50 and list it to go ahead and sell it. Most definitely. I will take a Gunnar Henderson card to flip it to sell it. because I'm not a Gunnar Henderson guy, so it doesn't pay for me to go ahead and have his cards. I mean, why not? I'd rather sell and eventually maybe put a few dollars aside to go ahead and buy something that I want. Yeah, I think it's any. Uh, I think any young player you have to be careful of. People are gonna man, people are gonna go crazy for Caleb Williams. They're gonna go crazy for Jalen Daniels. Um, I don't know if they will go crazy for Drake May. They may go crazy for Michael Penix, but they're gonna go crazy for these young quarterbacks, and you're gonna see some stupid prices on stuff that's gonna make you go ahead and shake your head. You know, uh, when you have Super Bowl winning quarterbacks who, who played multiple years, won multiple Super Bowls, and their rookie cards or their first year cards won't come damn near close to what some of these guys are. You know, Wentz is backing up Mahomes. Wow. Hey, not a bad place to be. That's a nice paycheck to go ahead and get because Mahomes plays. I mean, there are certain hey, backup quarterback in the NFL seems to be a great job at certain franchises when you don't have to worry about it. Like if you're a Buffalo guy, you know, if you're, the Chiefs, if you're, somewhere where, if you're Chargers, if you're somewhere where you have a good quarterback ahead of you, man, the backup quarterback's gotta be a great job. Yeah, the card might go ahead and burn you. I agree. Yeah, they make good money to play practice. Well, didn't he already I mean, he got a ring and, didn't play in the big game either, from that standpoint. Yeah, that's how he got the first one. So there's a guy who potentially be a two-time Super Bowl champion. Think about it. Think about Carson Wentz. Potentially with the Chiefs, he could if he just stays there, if he says, "You know what? I'm good. I'm done. I'm just gonna keep signing my 2 or 3 year deal. I'm gonna be backup quarterback to Patrick Mahomes." There's a guy who potentially could have multiple Super Bowl rings, yet be considered a bust. Think about it. Yeah, think about it. He could be he will be considered if he does nothing, he'll be considered a bust, but yet he could be a multiple time Super Bowl champion. Now his card still won't be worth jack. It's funny you talk about NDSU. I still have it. That's the bad part. A Trey Lance to 10. I think it was 3 to 10. And I had people offering me money for it. And I was like, nope, not gonna do it. Pretty freaking stupid now. Pretty stupid. Yeah. His cards were hot, especially when he was having that year when there was talk of him being an MVP, you know? But yeah. Yeah. You know? Some of these guys, it's going to be incredible. It is absolutely, positively, going to be absolutely nuts when you think about it. I couldn't. I don't even know. I have to find it. I'll show it to you, and you and I can talk, Brandon. You know. Holy cow, Diamond Princess! How the heck are you? Hope you're doing well. Um, And that's the funny thing, right? There's a guy whose cards were going for unbelievable crazy because that was it. Oh my gosh, you're in a break. You got the Eagles. Whoa, my God, you can get Carson Wentz. Then all of a sudden now, I guarantee you in these auctions, the Eagles were going for crazy money. I mean, I'll put it to you this way: one of my last breaks that I was allowed to run on eBay was a baseball break, and it was a lot. It was a big mixer, probably I don't know, 12 box mixer, 10 box mixer, and the uh the Tampa Bay Rays, went for like $130 on eBay on an eBay break. Yeah, I think it was like they went for I think like $133 in the break and stuff. And there were, a few what do you call it? There were a few wander cards hitting everything. But oh well. And I'm sure that's the type of stuff that has happened um with the Eagles. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, Caleb Williams, he's going to be a can't miss." People love Jaden Daniels for Washington. You know, you know, we'll see. Drake May, people love Bo Nix. Bo Nix was just named the starter in Denver. You know, so I mean, not like it's not like Bo had anybody hard to beat out. He had Jared Stidham and he had Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's another one. Hey, even as a Jets fan, his cards weren't going for thousands and thousands, but Zach Wilson cards was still, a couple $100 for an autograph, a couple 300 for, an a patch auto, uh, you know, and now, you're not going to pay that much for him, even at that price, you know. But it's amazing when you look at the value of the way this is. Again, if you're trying to go ahead and buy and sell, it's tough. It's tough to figure out who. Football, especially to me, football is very, very hard. I don't know. It almost seems as though it's a quarterback, wide receiver. Your running back stuff. Running backs seem to have been gone. You're not getting the money out of the running backs as you used to. Basketball, it's the player. You know, but football, it really comes down. It's really only quarterbacks. So here you are, you're trying to get into a break, or you're trying to buy. You're trying to buy. It is. Yeah, it is. Sports cards are a very hard market. Sports cards are a very hard market, and that's why I say I don't understand these guys. I wonder how many. I mean, look, number one, we'll never know for sure. Um, excuse me. I don't think we'll ever know for sure. If we get to look behind the curtain and see what some of these guys do. You know, um, but to me, I don't know. I think if you can, like I've said with me, there's a couple three players that I may collect per se. After that, it really doesn't. Again, don't get me wrong. I said I've made some stupid mistakes with certain players and holding on to them when I shouldn't have held on to them, because those one or two good cards or three good cards that I had, I thought that was a potential of an investment, but I should have just got my money out of it and then put it towards players that I collect. But that's when I had a different mindset, 3 years ago. But I've gone ahead and I've changed it now to where it's like, you know what? If I don't PC the guy, if Mike doesn't PC the guy, if well, thank you. if you know, if Brandon or anybody, anybody in the card community, if those guys don't like, PC a guy that I know of, you're like, I don't know. Them I'm listing some Blaze Jordan, mojo, Bowman mojos. I don't know if anybody is a Blaze Jordan guy, so I don't know. So I will list those, right? Again, they're not expensive cards. They're $3 cards, $2 cards, But to me, you gotta do sell them while they're hot. Yeah, that's what I always said. Like, when from a baseball perspective, when Drew Jones, when his, Bowman draft prism, mojos, or Jackson Holiday, man, again, it's hard. I know you don't want to say, my gosh, I went ahead and sold Jackson Holiday. I had his one of one, and I sold it for $10,000 because that's what somebody was willing to give it to me. And here I am 10 years later, and it's like, holy crap, that's a $300,000 card. You really can't. Uh, I mean, you really can't go ahead and look back too much. You know, you got to take it for what it's worth. Got to move forward. So while it's hot, I like I said, to me, I do this more now. I pull Paul Skeens cards out of a box. They get listed right away and they sell right away. Somebody does something good. I look through, if I can, boom, and I go ahead and I get them, listed, as soon as I can to try and get in and try and get out. When the Olympics were going on, I started, listing, trying to list, the guys that, if I had any of the guys that were on the, hey, have a good night, Sean. Gotta get ready for school. You should. I don't know if you're back at school yet, but have a great one, buddy. Thanks for swinging by. Thanks for stopping in and hanging out. Much appreciated. Um, but the Olympic basketball team, any of those cards, if I was looking through my basketball stuff, and if I had anything that was decent, if it was, a prism or some color or numbers and stuff like that, I was throwing them up. Boom, 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 and I was selling them. I was selling them. So that's that's what it is. I would sell while it's hot and everything. If I would have bought, Bowman draft and pulled, Jackson Holiday, or if I would have pulled, or even like when the Tom Brady stuff was going on, there people like going, "Oh my gosh, you shouldn't sell, you should hold, you should hold." Nah, go ahead and sell while the hype is there, man. When when you see the school of fish and they're hungry, man, bait up the hook, throw it in there, get one on the line, and catch them, and bring them in, and go ahead and get rid of the card, and do something good with it. Maybe it's a really cool vacation. Maybe that's what you go ahead and get out of it. Maybe it's paying off a credit card for you, or maybe it's just putting in the bank and buying a Grail card for yourself. But yeah, for me, like I said, I look at every card that I pull, again, unless and I collect some older players. I don't collect superstars. Well, I collect I collect guys that were Hall of Fame, some Hall of Famers. I collect, some all stars from back in the day of baseball, when I first started watching, when I grew up watching baseball. I collect some of those guys. I'm not really a modern collector per se. I'm a modern collector of the card. Like, for instance, I'm a Fred Lynn guy. So this is a modern card, not a modern player, right? So it's kind of a double, you know, it's kind of a, what do you call it? It's kind of a, I guess, an oxymoron. It's like, hey, you don't collect modern, but wait a minute, that's a modern card. Yeah, but if it's an old player, so I look at it from that standpoint. Um, but we have that going on. What do you guys think of, or have you heard? Change the subject, but not change the subject. Have you guys heard about the bounty for the Tops Now one of one LeBron, KD, Steph autograph card? Did you see what happened? Did you hear about what happened? Um, if you didn't hear about what happened, yeah, yeah, you know, it's our hobby. Who cares? Before we talk about that, before we talk about the one on one thing, who cares? You know what? Collect who you like, collect what you like. If the if it's branded, licensed, unlicensed, who cares? If you like the card, buy the card. Doesn't make a difference if someone goes, ooh, ooh, I don't like that. Ooh, ooh, that's a paper card. Why would you buy the paper card? You should be buying the shiny card. Oh, too bad Sean left. He was asking about Stacy. You know what I'm saying? From that standpoint, buy what you like. Don't hell with what everybody else thinks. Um, but it's interesting. So Jeff Wilson, sports card investor, part owner of Cards HQ, basically Marietta, Georgia. She is. Yes, she is. Um, threw out a bounty of for that card for $100,000. And then a couple days later, Ken Golden came out and said, I'll give you $150,000 for that card. Stacy Keebler. She's got legs. She knows how to use them. so, um, so Ken Golden came out and said that, and then, oh man, CCB, buddy. And then, so Golden came out and said, "Hey, I'll give you 150 grand." And then report just came out that uh, sports card investor, very very smart. A lot of people think the guy's an idiot, and don't get me wrong. There are a lot of people who say he's done bad things for the hobby. A lot of people say he's done good things for the hobby. I personally, I don't care one way or the other. I will tell you also that, but I'm working because he's in Atlanta and I'm in Atlanta. I'm trying to go ahead and get him to be basically right here on this screen. I'm trying to work on having him as a guest. So Golden came back and said 150K plus the auction price. But Sports Card Investor just came out and said what he's going to do. Whoever buys that card goes to him. He already has made a deal with Sotheby's auction house that the card will go there at auction, and the minimum bid will be $250,000, and he has guaranteed that he will make the first bid of $250,000. So that as a minimum, the person who gets that card will get the 250, but obviously that card's going to go for a lot. In my opinion, it's going to go a lot more than 250. It wouldn't surprise me if it gets towards $1 million, because when you think about it, from an iconic autograph card, those three guys, um, one thing, but then those three guys in Team USA jerseys, which is not going to happen. Again, those three won't play. I mean, LeBron's 40. He ain't. I can't believe at 44 he will play in the 28 games. Steph is what, 33, I think, maybe more. But he'll be in his late 30s. KD, I think will be in his late 30s. So those three are done. So it's going to be a an incredible thing. I did not hear. I did not hear that 500K for the card and 10K to take a picture. I did not hear about that. Where they ship those, they have to be hand collated. Gets iffy with that kind. Oh, locking. Wow, I did not even think of that, man. I forgot that those are hand correlated. That's right. Because if you look, I got the Paul Skeens one, and it comes like this. And I don't know why I bought the Solar Eclipse ones because I was hoping to see if they have a number card, and it comes like that. So you're right. Wow, I did not think about that at all. So definitely, wow. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who the like. I, I wonder. So I don't know what Golden offered, but I know Jeff also offered uh to come to Cards HQ and spend the day or something, have some kind of thing going on at Cards HQ and filming it and all that kind of stuff. So again, I don't know if that'll be the real winner, but yeah, that's true. Those are hand correlated because if you buy five, they take five and they put it in that little thing. And if they decide to add, to add it in, I wonder how they will bundle those. I wonder if they'll bundle them in, you know, packs of five with the one card being, a six card and then throw them all together and figure it out that way. But holy cow, yeah. Oof. But again, I don't know what the print run. Come spend a day and we'll give you a 10% discount. Yeah. But hey, he'll also go ahead and, he was also going to give you 100 grand for the card, you know, and I'm sure, the IRS is sitting there going, hey, you actually didn't really even pay for that card. Because in reality, you don't pay for the parallels. If you buy, I've been lucky and gotten two parallels out of Tops now. I got a Pete Alonso 3 out of 5 orange, and I bought 5 cards, and that was the sixth card in the bundle. So it is you technically don't pay for that card because you buy the bundle, then they throw the parallels in. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, there are people who probably went out and were buying 1,000 of them. All right, Larkin, have a good one, buddy. Thanks for hanging out. Much appreciated. I do. I mean, look, there are a lot of people who don't like the guy. There are a lot of people who think that he has cheated the system and all the other kind of stuff. I don't know if he has. I don't know if he hasn't. All righty, sir. Thanks, CCB. Have a great night, buddy. I don't know if Jeff has done bad things or not. Um, but look, he's a businessman, and say what you want to say. Um, I know his other business, 352 or whatever it was called. I believe he sold that. So he is doing the sports cards, market movers, cards HQ thing. Excuse me. Um, I know he is doing all of that. And obviously, if he sold his other business, he doesn't necessarily have to worry that much about, who knows how much money that brought in. I don't know how the store is doing on a regular basis. I don't know how busy it is. If it's like most LCSs, on release day, if he's having product in there, it's busy, and it's busy on the weekends, right? Now, especially in our area, school is in session, so it isn't like, you know, mom or dad working from home and their their son or daughter wants to go to the LCS to buy some cards and stuff like that. What are you gonna do? We all have coal in the fire. Yeah. No, you're right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You know, but all those guys. I mean, again, how do you blame them? How do you blame them for for doing what they're doing? I mean, there are people that can't stand, Ryan, card collector too. The way he doesn't affect me at all. Now people will go, "Oh, what are you talking about?" These guys, card collector too, sports card investor, XYZ, I'm LMNOP, all these guys you see, Blez, all these guys you see showing up, backyard guys, they're all ruining the hobby because they're making it more expensive. They don't make it. I mean, I don't know what prices would be if we didn't have all these breakers. But even if you told me that the box that would go for $1,000 would come down to $600, I still ain't buying it. So I don't necessarily know how much effect those guys have over me and how I do my hobby. They probably do, but I probably don't see it as much as I don't see it as much. you know, I mean, would I love to buy hobby boxes to have a chance, to get the big autograph card? Sure, I would. I'd be lying to you if I said no, I wouldn't. But I also know from watching enough videos, you get kicked in the nuts a lot more than you don't when you buy these. When you buy these hobby boxes. Even if you look at the baseball ones, even if you look at Topps Chrome and you can buy a hobby box for 200 bucks, whatever it is, it's still extremely hard to make your money back even on a $200 box. When Flagship first came out, 185 bucks, whatever it was still hard to make your money back. You know, you're right. That's the way to go. That for cards that I want, I don't try and pull them. I open up a lot of product on my channel. I open up a lot of cheap product on my channel. I'm not expecting to get massive, massive hits. Have I gotten some big hits out of the stuff that I've opened? Yes. Have I gotten, uh, $1,000 cards? No. But did I pull a Steph Curry Genesis? Yes. Did I pull a on card Derek Jeter gold auto to 50? Yes. But did I pull an RPA for, Patty Mahomes? Nope. Herbert? Nope. Hell, not even a freaking Justin Fields. Not even a freaking Zach Wilson. Why? Because they're not in the boxes that I buy. So for me to try and make money, to try and collect that profit, I got to do it by going ahead and going through the dollar boxes, finding this Randy Valade out of 50 Bowman paper and finding that in a quarter box or a 50-cent box and selling it for $3 and see if I could go ahead, and make a couple bucks back. I mean, that's what I'm buying and selling. I really would love to buy a collection. I mean, when I retire and I have the ability to go ahead and actually like look around and try and, find a collection, I would love to buy a collection. I can't buy a collection where I am here. You know, um, I look on Facebook Marketplace all the time. Excuse me. I look at Facebook Marketplace all the time, and there are zero deals to be had. There's somebody going up to some place and finding, I don't know, a a few thousand cards or 5,000 cards or 10,000 cards and getting them all for, cheap money. Yeah. That kind of stuff doesn't happen here. Not in the Atlanta market. In the Atlanta market, you go on Facebook Marketplace, you see these people. I got this great collection from from 2010 to 2020. I got, 1,000 cards. I want $500 for it. You know, extremely unrealistic. Extremely unrealistic. You know, like when I retire, what I really want to what I really really want to do is I want to talk to people that buy storage units. And if they come across and they find, cards and they're not card people and they don't care about it, of seeing if I can go ahead and work out a deal and try and get cards that way. Yeah. Estate sales, storage unit type thing. They open one hand, return that. You got that right. That's what I was telling you. I had two really good friends in the hobby. Um, and I'm telling you, every time I mean, they're not necessarily they were one friend is here, another friend, and we would just meet on, we would meet on StreamYard just because we're buddies to show what we got and picked up stuff like that. Don't record, no nothing, just more of a video conference call. And I can't tell you, they would sit there and go and be like, "Yep, I picked up I picked up these guys right here, man. These 5 cards. I'm sending them in the PSA. Man, these are my retirement. They're gonna go into my safe because those are my 401k cards." And I think their 401k cards are worth about $4.01 now each. So the 401k didn't work out the way they were working. The K part never happened. The 401 part happened. The K part never happened. Um, but that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to try and find. I mean, because I've even seen some of the videos, and again, what do you believe? Oh, video. I went and bought a storage unit, and it had 3 million cards in it, and the guy rolls up the door, and it's nothing but 4 row, 5 row boxes stacked, 8 feet high, in the whole unit and stuff. Okay, I mean, for all I know, that's your actual own storage unit that you store your cards in. But you know, but by the same, but that's what I would like to do. That's the way I think I would love to go ahead and build not a collection for myself, but build inventory to be able to list on eBay to be able to go ahead and sell. That's what I would like to do. I would really, really like that. Um, but again, I don't know. There it's it'll be. I don't. The more the hobby gets talked about, the more if we see it, if it becomes a little more mainstream with Fanatics Fest, with it being talking about more with a lot more athletes, you know, I mean, hell, I'm not gonna be honest. I know we didn't have social media, but you didn't hear about baseball players collecting their own cards when I was growing up. Now you see it. I saw a video the other day of a guy who knew Mike Trout, who was a friends of Mike Trout, who FaceTime Mike Trout at a card show trying to make it work a deal for it was a Trout Aaron Judge auto. And here's Mike Trout going ahead and negotiating with the guy over the FaceTime. And I don't know if the deal happened and everything, but I know the guy was at like $2,500 for the card. The video stopped. It was a short, so I don't know whether the deal went through or not. But at 2,500, you could see Trout was shaking his head like, no, 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 no. It's like, man, come on, bro, make this freaking guy's day. You got $400 million. Okay, you have 400 million. 2,500 is like me having a quarter, or actually, 2.5 cents. From that standpoint, my gosh, man, pay the freaking kid. Like, my gosh, what more? How much more of a negotiation did you have to come down? So, but it's very, finding cards is hard. Well, it's not hard. It's easy to find cards. I shouldn't say that. It's very, very easy to find cards out in the wild, from what I've seen. And I don't mean going to garage sales, but I mean, if you're looking online trying to find cards that are listed locally in bulk, very, very easy to find. Very, very hard to make a deal because too many people think that, like Justin said, I got my retirement here. And guess what? If you're going to come and take my retirement, you're going to pay. And ain't worth it. Not, it's not worth what you see, from that standpoint. So I don't know. Hobby's gonna be interesting as we go forward, man. I'm telling you, hobby's gonna be really, really interesting as Fanatics gets more and more involved. As this Fanatics Fest goes up, it's gonna be interesting. Um, there's some other things that I want to talk about with Fanatics, but I think I'm gonna hold those until next week. Um, you know, go ahead and get into. So from that standpoint, but looking forward to again, I'm really looking forward to Topps Chrome basketball, even though it's unlicensed. Even though, I mean, there's really going to be one chase card. It's going to be the Wemby 101. I tell you, you think about it. When you look at what happened with basketball, thank you so much, sir. Much appreciated, Justin. Much appreciated. Um, when you think about um, what do you call it? When you look at basketball, right? A lot of it this past year was driven by one player, Wemby. When you think about hockey, it was driven by one player, Bedard. Very, very interesting. Um, yeah, I think again, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. I think Fanatics did from what I've heard. Fanatics did a great job with Fanatics Fest. That's everything all the videos that I've seen. I haven't seen one person. The biggest, the biggest issue that I've heard um, was that there was a lot of people were making deals and spending time that a lot of people didn't get a chance to go ahead and go hang out and listen to the panels that were talking and so on and so forth, right? From that sense. Anyone having issues with pirate ship, every time I click get rates, I get a page not found. I have to type everything all over again. Not the last time I used it, sir. But then again, uh, I used it last week. I haven't had to use it over the last couple of days. Uh, I do have I do have a package for Dom that has to go out. I'm still putting a couple things together. I got to grab a couple more things. Dommy, if you're still listening, I have your package. I'll try and get it out tomorrow. If not tomorrow, it'll go out probably Monday with some stuff in there for you. I got a box for you. And yeah, yeah, pirate ship, man. I am trying to, yeah. What could you have done, Brandon? What could it have been? Were you missing something in the address? Land shark picker, Craig. What's happening, my man? How are you, sir? Yep, it most certainly does. Yeah, try again, man. Try again. Um, don't forget, Brandon. Make sure you change your return address because you did move. So make sure you went ahead and do that kind of stuff. Double S, double D. You got that right, sir. You got that right. Life been treating you well there, Craig? Oh man, thank you, sir. Much appreciated, my man. Much appreciated. Um, yeah, I mean, the chat is always, chat's always good here. These guys are and girls that come in, um, very knowledgeable folks, uh, very easy to get along with. You know, if you're Justin, as you hang around a little bit more, man, if you're looking for deals and stuff like that, if when you'll get good deals and stuff like that if you're looking for certain cards and all that type of thing. Right, super. Oh man, T-Boggin, what's up, brother? You see that, Brandon? Are you trying to mail that? I know it's probably no all Mookie, no Dookie. Although I doubt you have any. I thought you were sending out any Mookies. So, but yeah. I mean, Justin, really good bunch of guys. Brandon is Brandon Jensen. If you haven't seen him or watched any of his stuff, go back and look. He's actually a nut when it comes to stuff. He just gives you stuff. It's like and from that standpoint. But if you come back and check out, there's sales that happen. There's claim sales, dollar to up. That's right. Yeah, they won the contest last night. The rack. Um, yeah, I don't know what could be going on. I haven't had page not found when you do rates, but then I don't get rates that way. If I'm gonna send something to somebody, I don't look at the rates first. I just go ahead and do the create the label, put all my information in, and again, remember as we talked last time, Brandon, don't add a whole bunch of flipping ounces to it just to make sure it's all right. Put it on a scale, weigh it, and go exactly what it is. Um, and so and then you could always check rates that way. I don't know if you know that. So rather than checking rates and see what it is, if you go into regular pirate ship, do the create the label up where it shows you the price, usually right below it'll say, hey, this is cheaper or this is faster. But you could always click that drop down arrow and then it will show you all the different rates. If for some strange reason you wanted to send it priority or, UPS or one of those other ways or something like that. So you don't have to necessarily go in to check rates to see what you can pay. You can do it right from the create the label screen. Especially with that new fancy schmancy setup that you got, Brandon. You know? Whew. Rejects the package. Yes, you gotta be careful. You can't be sending those RC cards. That's what I'm doing after I put in all my info under create label. I check rates and then boom, it fails. Hmm. I got nothing for you, man. I don't know. I haven't had that happen, sir. Yeah, it came out really well. It came out very, 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 very nice. You've done a fantastic job. Fantastic job. I enjoyed the setup that you had. One day I hope to have a cool setup like you. But no, I got a pool table and a dog bed. And flipping stacks and boxes of cards everywhere. You know. You're very welcome. Very welcome, very welcome. Yeah. Take a look. I got stuff I don't even know what to do with. Yeah. Box of cards. I got Seattle. I got the Yankees. I got the Rays. Oh, look at that. I got some too much crap, man. Too much crap. You'll be all right, brother. I'm going to try and put on some put some team packs together up on uh up on eBay. Just all different stuff. I'll go back into my like 70s and 80s and 90s cards and mix them with the modern stuff and see if I can sell some team packs. You know, maybe I'll go ahead and maybe I'll go ahead and try and put it together. So I don't have, yeah, Brandon. I'm gonna need your new address, so I'm gonna have to send you an email so I can have your new address. So, well, all right, fellas. Been an hour and a half. Thank you very much for hanging out. Yeah, yeah, that's true. You're putting in all your dimensions and all your weights correctly? 'Cause I don't know why it would go ahead and when you click check rates of why it would remove everything. That doesn't really make sense. And once you send something now, if you've never sent anything to Cash and Dad before, I can understand that. Like if you send something to Dom, once you put in Dom's name and the name, his all his information should already fill in. So Seattle pack sold. You got it, man. All right. The fifth time is a charm. We got Seattle right there. Seattle right there. All right. I'll add a bunch of that to the box that I'm sending to you, Dommy. So all is good. Brandon, I'm happy you were able to get your stuff done, man. That's great, 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 great. Hey Dom, don't forget, buddy. If you're gonna be doing those kid packs again at any particular time in the future, please let me know because I have a bunch of cards that I would like to donate. And actually, does anybody still here in the chat and everything? If you're doing any kind of kids packs or something like that, and you need cards to fill the packs, please, please. And if I didn't say it, please uh, reach out to me because I have cards that I will. Yep. All right. Well, if you need cards, please let me know, buddy. I appreciate it. I mean, I'll get the box out. I don't want anything for them. I just want the cards to go ahead and go to good use rather than just sit in a box here. And if some little guy or little girl can go ahead and enjoy them, that's what it's all about. I'd rather have that than them just sit in a box on a shelf and waste for nothing. Justin, thank you so much for hanging out. Much appreciated. Yep, we could be going for an hour and a half, guys. Gonna go ahead and shut it down. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Episode number 86 is finished. We got episode number 87 coming up. Man, we are just 13 episodes away from 100. And I'm not gonna lie, I can't believe it. But we're gonna keep rolling. We're gonna get to 100, and we're gonna get to 150, and we're gonna keep going. I appreciate each and every one of you guys more than words can go ahead and say. I hope you guys really understand that. Um, I hope you really, really do. And again, I appreciate it. Have yourselves a great night, and I'll be talking to you later. Peace.